Technical difficulties be gone.
Be gone.
Yeah, I threw you a curveball.
That's all good.
Yeah, that's my fault. I should have been a little bit more forthcoming about it.
It's no big deal. You said, hey, can I come in? Sure, man.
Well, the show's better when I'm inside the studio.
Yeah, I said, sure. And I just got everything ready. We just had a little glitchy camera because probably due to the cold, but
yeah,
it's warm in here. I've had the heater on.
Dude, my girlfriend was showing me photos from her house in Conroe.
Covered in ice and snow?
No, they got a lot of snow over there.
Oh,
I was on Twitter last night. Conroe got hit pretty hard with snow, about 4 or 5 inches in some places.
Ooh. She's not going nowhere then. She's staying at home. Yeah, good morning, Antarctica. What's up, Sith? What's up, Sean Quintero? Thanks for the hospitality, Sean. Appreciate you, man. Hung out with Sean over the weekend. Made me and my buddy Ed some drinks. Hey, man, Sean's an accomplished bartender, dude.
Oh, he is.
He makes some good drinks.
You know, when he makes the drink, he does that whole cocktail thing.
Dude.
He has that grip.
Dude.
That force back with that thing.
Yeah, he's pouring down some good
with
drinks.
a shaker.
Yeah, man. Look at that. They said no ice down here. Puro sleet and ice. Yep, that's pretty much what we got.
No, man, I got snow.
Well, I mean, we think we got a dusting of snow over here, but it wasn't like we woke up and it was like inches on the ground.
Well, not inches. Did you see my house? I posted it on.
Yeah, I saw it. My backyard looks like that right now. Like a little dusting.
It was enough to cover up all the dog poop in the backyard.
You know what somebody had put on the Instagram or something that I saw? There was this girl and she was saying, when I was young, all we saw was a bunch of white dog poop everywhere. The white, dry dog poop.
Yeah.
She goes, how come we don't see that no more? And then somebody
everyone
said,
picks it up now.
well, no, they were saying that now it's because of the quality of food has gotten better.
Okay.
For the animals. They don't serve them that crap anymore.
I know. I serve my dog salmon-based food now.
No.
Salmon. They're eating good.
Salmon. Yeah, man. It's been a cold morning, dude. Everybody's getting off to a slow start today. I saw a seal and a polar bear on my street.
Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your host as it helps the show grow.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is the Area 210 podcast coming at you from the west side of San Antonio. It is a chilly day here in the Alamo City. My name's Mike Jimenez. That is Joe Garcia. Joe, it snowed last night.
It did a little bit, man.
If you want to show my screen, this is what I woke up to this morning at Casa Jimenez. A little dusting of snow out there. I mean, it's not like inches of snow. You can still see the grass and whatnot, but not bad. Certain areas of town got nothing.
Yeah.
But I got a little something there in the backyard. And Joe will let you know this. My husky Duncan does not want to come back inside.
No, he's having fun.
So for those of you who are like, oh my God, bringing the dogs in. Don't get me wrong. My golden retriever wanted to come inside. His happy ass is indoors right now. But the husky, he's in his element, man. He's looking around going, thank you, Dad.
Yeah.
Thank you. But it's going to be a good day. Good show today. We have lots to get into today, Joe. The Spurs are in Paris right now. Did Jeremy Sohan fix his shot? Because we saw a video of him shooting around with Zach Collins. The shot looked different. Stephon Castle is going to be part of All-Star Weekend. Not only, I'm assuming he's going to be part of the rookie game, right? The rookie versus sophomores or whatever they do these days. But he's also going to be a member of the slam dunk competition.
Yeah. Did you see why, though? They said that he has the most dunks for his position as a rookie right now.
And I think this is going to galvanize support for him nationwide for Rookie of the Year because he's going to be showcased out there. We're going to know who he is, right?
I hope he has a good showing, though, man. If you're going to go to the dunk contest, go out there and show him something.
Yeah.
You know, show me something.
And he's a power dunker.
Yeah.
He ain't finesse out there. He's a power dunker. We'll get into that. You know, the Spurs' hopes of getting that Chicago pick start to unravel a little bit.
Hey, but we were supposed to get the Atlanta pick, too.
It's going to melt like the snow, like the Charlotte one from Atlanta. Yeah. It's going to melt like the snow because I was doing the math behind it, not looking good. We need to get into last night's national championship game at some point. Ohio State, congratulations, national champions. Just think about it. Just 2.5 months ago, Everybody wanted to run Ohio State's head coach out of town, and he comes back and wins the Natty. Outstanding. And screw Notre Dame. And beyond that, screw LeBron James. What an attention whore that guy is. Last night at the game cheering on Ohio State. Yeah, he's from Ohio, so I'm going to go ahead and give him that pass. But, dude, LeBron James is that guy who only cheers for teams that win championships. He's the Drake of the NBA. It pisses me off. We'll get into that. The NFL playoffs, we're down to the Final Four.
Yeah, now we are.
Cowboy fans are going to look at the NFC Championship game this weekend and see two teams from the NFC East, the Washington Commanders against the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what's funny about Washington and Philadelphia? You know what's funny about Kansas City and Baltimore and Buffalo? The four teams that still are alive, all four of them were out-yard last weekend. They had fewer yards than their opponents, but all four of those teams won.
You know what was funny? I said this, man. I said the Detroit Lions were frauds, dude.
Yeah.
They were decimated by injury, and sooner or later,
we called it on this show. They were gonna do something silly at some point. And what it was just Jared Goff just going back into time and not being the Jared Goff that we've seen the last 2 years, but Jared Goff of 4 or 5 years ago with the Rams.
I was thinking the injuries starting to catch up to him, man.
The balls that the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn had in that game, just repeatedly going for it on fourth down, taking points off the board, they had all the confidence in the world they were going to win that game.
Yeah.
They didn't go in there and hope the other team, the Detroit Lions, were going to lose. They went in there to win that game and repeatedly kept going for it on fourth down to move the chains, to get touchdowns instead of field goals. I'm sorry. If I had to choose right now between the Eagles, I know the Eagles, Saquon went out for 200 yards. I understand that. Give me Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, man, this Commanders team, man.
Which would you rather see? A rookie quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Here are all the different things that can happen. The storylines are great. The Rubik's Cube that is the NFL playoffs right now, all the combinations are good.
Yeah.
If you have Kansas City in the Super Bowl, what? The first time ever a team's going to try to go for a three-peat, right? Potentially get a three-peat. You have Buffalo, who we all remember lost back-to-back Super Bowls, 4 in a row back in the 80s and 90s. We remember that, right? And we feel bad for Bills Mafia because they are a fantastic fan base. Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley going from the Giants, who didn't want him, right? They chose Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. You see him go to Philadelphia, and now you have Philadelphia with Saquon. Can Saquon win a chip? One of the all-time best running backs of all time, right? Top 10 easily. Then you've got the Commanders, who go out there with a rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, who, if you saw him on the sidelines, just stood there like this. The announcers were there saying it looks like his beats per minute is like 55 or 60.
Yeah.
Big game. Everybody watching. Just calm and collected, laser focused.
Yeah.
The guy's an assassin. And where did he go? LSU.
Yeah, man.
Dude, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, both from LSU. It's an amazing thing. We'll get into that as well.
You know, the other thing, too, that we called out, the Texans were my Sancha team, but I told you they were frauds, dude, and they got exposed.
And you know, the one thing that we'll say about every single game was all about turnovers. Whoever committed turnovers lost.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, interceptions. Texans, turnovers.
It wasn't just the turnovers, it's how they lost too. And like near the end of the game, man, they got their teeth knocked in, dude.
Yeah, and then the whole argument again, did Patrick Mahomes get protected? There needs to be a change to the rule.
Oh my God. Did you see what he does, man? He slows down on purpose.
Yeah,
he
baits
flops.
he baits the other team into hitting them.
As soon as they push him, he
knows.
flops.
Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Luka Doncic in the NBA.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic has this play where he gets in front of the defender and then uses his ass to basically guard against the defender. And it creates a situation where he knows he's going to get fouled from behind. It's no different than when Tim Duncan would stick the arm out because he knew that just somebody would just swipe out of instinct, and that would happen, right?
Yeah. That was,
but
Bruce Bowen too, how he used to play back in the day.
But yeah, they're baiting people into doing certain things, right? Patrick Mahomes, he's manipulating a rule because he knows it's designed to protect him. And the fact of the matter is that whole rule was designed to protect quarterbacks who were in the pocket.
He's not in the pocket.
He's not in the pocket. He's running. You're a running back at that point.
You can get your shit knocked out of you, dude. You'd be all right.
There's one way to get
it.
You know what? If you're gonna get called for 15 yards, have him eat his helmet.
Oh, dude, yeah,
rip
off.
that thing off, man. Make him earn it. You want to play that game? Pulverize him.
Knock the Sonic coins out of that motherfucker.
Exactly, dude. And you look at Houston. Houston didn't really have any turnovers, man. But the fact of the matter is that they outgained the Chiefs. 245 yards passing for Stroud, 177 for Mahomes. Joe Mixon, 88 yards. Kareem Hunt, 44.
I tell you, man, it just the Chiefs just look better, dude.
Well, Travis Kelce going off for 117 yards. Travis Kelce, who was basically just a dude in the regular season, shows up, and we see playoff with Travis Kelce. It was just an ugly game for the Texans. At no point did you look and think to yourself, "Well, the Texans have a chance in this game." They got out to a 13-3 lead, Kansas City, and then it was 13-12. They were going to tie the game and missed the PAT, right? So it's 13-12. And it even though it was a close game, at no point did I think, the Texans have a chance. Kansas City, I think, was toying with them, was just doing enough to win.
Yeah.
But now they have Buffalo going in. You know what? Let's talk about the NFL right now before we get into the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
Remember last week when I mentioned that the disrespect that Vegas had on the Buffalo Bills? Buffalo Bills were undefeated 9-0 going to that game. They had won their playoff game, their wild card game, by 24 points, Joe. They were undefeated 9-0 with a better record than the Ravens.
Yeah.
And the Ravens were favored to win in Buffalo. And what did I say, Joe? The disrespect of that. Joe, is Vegas now disrespecting the Kansas City Chiefs, who are going for a back-to-back-to-back three-peat in the Super Bowl? The Kansas City Chiefs, who are also undefeated at home at 9-0, are only a 1.5-point favorite against Buffalo. So on a neutral field, they say that home field counts as 3 points. So what Vegas is saying is that Chiefs, you're going to be favored. But we believe that if they play this at Jerry World, or if they play this in New Orleans, or if they play this on a neutral field, Vegas believes that Buffalo, man-to-man, is a better team than Kansas City. And you know what? They're right.
Yeah.
Buffalo is a better team than Kansas City. But the thing is, Mahomes is Mahomes.
Yeah, it's like this, man. This reminds me of the days back when, right? Spurs versus Lakers, right? What happened with the Spurs? Every time they go up to the Lakers in the playoffs, they'd get bested by the Lakers, and they would never go to the big dance. And then finally, what happened? Spurs were able to get over the hump, beat the Lakers, go on to the NBA Finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing that's happening right now with the Bills and the Chiefs, right? Bills can never get over the Chiefs. Can't get over the hump.
Over the hump.
They can't, but this might be the year.
Do you know what this reminds me of? The movie Glory. Remember? they're going after Fort Sumter.
Yeah.
They're attacking the beach. They're taking the fire. They're making their way
with Matthew
on.
Broderick.
You got Carrie Owens and Morgan Freeman running through the fort.
They made us watch that in high school, dude.
And then they turn the corner. God. They turn the corner. Right, just when they think they're going to win, they turn the corner. And
freaking
cannons on their face. Boom. That is what happens when Buffalo plays Kansas City in the playoffs. But the thing is that they did play week 11. Not that it matters. November 17th, Buffalo did beat Kansas City 30-21. They did play in Buffalo at the time. But the fact of the matter is, man-to-man, Joe, Buffalo is the better team. Buffalo is the better team. They're the deeper team.
I look at Chris Gonzalez, but they all died in glory. Yeah,
exactly.
As soon as they turned the corner.
That's what we're saying is that Buffalo is running through the playoffs, right? They're going 13-4. Yeah. They beat Denver 31-7. They're climbing the walls. Baltimore, they're hand-to-hand combat with Baltimore. Beat them 27-5. They're making their way to the Super Bowl. Turn the corner. Cannons in front of them. Mahomes, Kelsey. Boom. Andy Reid. I love this show sometimes, Joe, because that just came out of nowhere. Like, where the hell did that come from?
Freaking glory.
If you had told me the glory was going to come to mind when talking about the NFL playoffs, I never would have thought.
You know what's funny is that people don't realize that Matthew Broderick was in that damn film.
It was great, man. you know, Andre Brower was also in that movie. Yeah. Andre Brower, who played Captain Holt on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, was the nerdy freed slave who joined the regiment, the Massachusetts regiment, in that movie.
Yeah.
And you look back and you go, my God, that's Lieutenant Holt.
Yeah.
Or Captain Holt, rather. We're all going to look back on this about a week from now, Joe, and look at it and go, why are we talking crap about Mahomes? He never loses. But think about the path that he has. He had Houston. They had a bye, and then they had a crappy Houston team. And now they have a home game against Baltimore. My big thing about that game, Joe, is what's the weather going to be like? Because in a cold weather game, I trust Buffalo beyond anything right now.
They're used to playing in that cold ass weather.
And I want this. I want this to happen so bad. I want Buffalo in the play.
But the Chiefs too are used to playing in inclement weather as well.
They do, but not as often as Buffalo. And I'm taking a look at it right now. The temperature, game time, 5:30 on Sunday is supposed to be 31 degrees and getting colder as the game goes by. It doesn't say whether there's going to be any precipitation, but it's going to be a cold game out there. It's also going to be a cold game between the Eagles and Commanders. 39 degrees expected at kickoff at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, rather. The Commanders, Joe, Dan Quinn, head coach. Eagles, Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator. From a Cowboys fan perspective, and I'm not a Cowboys fan, I have never seen. I saw some apathy this year from Cowboy fan. Basically just not give a crap. I saw a lot of Cowboy fans just not watch the last 4 or 5 games of the season. So it went from being, we're optimistic about this year. I know the Cowboys didn't do anything in the free agency, to, I can't believe how bad they are. Oh, Dak got hurt, to just being apathetic and not caring anymore. It went from not caring, Joe, to now outright venom and anger from Cowboy fans right now, especially. We joked about this last week, Joe. I said, can you imagine if Detroit loses to the Commanders? Can you imagine if the Rams wet the bed against the Eagles? It's going to be a Commanders-Eagles NFC Championship game. And you went like, no. You went like that. You went like, no.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? Here we are. And here we are. Here we are.
Ex-girlfriend thriving.
And now we see Jaden Daniels, a rookie that the Cowboys are going to have to compete against for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Who's looking like Joe Burrow of the NFC, also out of LSU. He's coming out there, cool, calm, and collected. The dude just doesn't make mistakes. He just doesn't make mistakes.
No.
And you know what? If he hadn't have gotten hurt, he could have been in the MVP hunt. He doesn't make mistakes. They went into Detroit, Joe, and beat the Lions 45-31. 28 points in the second quarter. Jaden Daniels, 299 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, also rushed for 51. Jaden Daniels had 16 rush attempts. Now, I knew a couple of them were victory formation, but let's just take those away. He had 13 rush attempts. He's a dual threat. He's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run. He looks, Joe, like he can be a top 5 quarterback as early as next year. So you take out these young quarterbacks, Joe, in the NFC, from a Cowboys fan perspective. Not only is it Brock Purdy in San Francisco when they get healthy again, but now you've got Jordan Love with Green Bay. You've got Jaden Daniels. You've got Caleb Williams, rather. You got Jalen Hurts. Dak is now just a mid quarterback in the NFC. Just a mid quarterback in the NFC. And there's this guy who writes for the Dallas media who was pissing me off yesterday. I'm not even a Cowboy fan, Joe. Do we have any comments coming in? By the way, our YouTube stream the chat is sponsored by MCS General Contracting. I'm just kind of going off on a tangent here because there's just so much in my mind going on about what I want to discuss. But any good comments coming in today, Joe?
Yeah, we just got Christopher Leha in the chat here from MCS General Contracting. He helps power the chat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, late to the show. What's good, everyone? How's everyone doing? Spurs are 2 packs of ass. I hope the NBA rigs both Paris games for them to win, because if they lose, we'll
talk about the Cowboys and actually the Spurs later on in the show. Sith Elias coming out and saying Cowboys are expected to interview their own offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, for their vacant head coaching job, which is true. So they've interviewed Kellen Moore already, Leslie Frazier as well. Ben Johnson went to the Bears. It looks like Mike McCarthy might be going to the Saints. So now the Cowboys are there. They're not going to get Dion.
No. What's the incentive for him to leave?
It's either going to be Brian Schottenheimer or Kellen Moore, and that's exactly what it just smells like, a Jerry Jones thing. Jerry Jones, and this is what it's like for billionaires out there. It's all about nepotism. they cater to their own family. Who's Jerry Jones's executive VP? His son, Steven
Jones.
Who is he looking at interviewing? He already interviewed Kellen Moore, who he forced upon Mike McCarthy. Yeah, we're going to hire Mike McCarthy as a coach, but you got to keep Kellen Moore. And now you have, and Tony Analysis reaches out to us on our YouTube stream and says, I would love Aaron Glenn for the Cowboys. You know what? That would be a great pickup. But guess what? Jerry Jones doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones only works with nepotism.
You know who also?
You know why? Because the only one time that he didn't do that was Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, man.
And Jimmy Johnson pissed him off.
You know who else is part of the Jones family that's employed by the Cowboys?
Who's that?
His daughter, Charlotte Jones.
Charlotte Jones, that's right.
She's the vice president and chief brand officer for the Cowboys.
Right. So I was taking a look at Marcus Mosher. Do you know who Marcus Mosher is? He's a Locked On Cowboys. So you know we have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. So he's on Locked On Spurs, and Marcus Mosher had a terrible day of tweeting yesterday. He was kind of getting under my skin a little bit, right? One of his tweets yesterday was, he goes, quote, and I think this is a very important take. Ashton Genty, who's a stud running back from Boise State, right? He was in the running for Heisman Trophy. Says Ashton Genty is obviously a great player, but the Cowboys can't afford to take a running back at 12. They aren't in position to do so. And Cowboy fans got pissed because they're like, no, we need studs. If you give us Kellen Moore or Brian Schottenheimer and then draft a guard or draft a right tackle, it's going to piss off Cowboy Nation. Ashton Genty, Cowboys had the number 12 pick. Ashton Genty, stud running back out of Boise State, could be there. In fact, we advocated last week of the Cowboys trading their 3rd round pick to move into the top 8 to go get him.
You know what that is? It's going to be, if they don't go ahead and get their guy, right? The guy that all, let's say, Cowboy fans want. That'll be like the Spurs reaching at Josh Primo, dude.
Right. You know, and why reach? Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. When the Kansas City Chiefs wanted Patrick Mahomes, did they sit there and hope that he was going to fall to them?
No, they made it happen, dude.
They traded with what team? The Buffalo Bills. They traded their 1st-round draft pick, a future 1st-round draft pick, and another pick to move up to get their guy. Guess who was going to draft Patrick Mahomes? Guess who had the card out to draft Patrick Mahomes? The New Orleans Saints. Sean Payton has said so. That was going to be their pick. And Kansas City jumped in front of them, and Sean Payton's like, oh my God, they're going to take our guy. But I was going over the stats, Joe. This is not something that other people do for me. I was going through the stats myself. If you want to show my screen, Joe.
Yeah, showing.
Here are the top 7 rushers in the past season. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris. Those are some pretty good stats, Joe. 2,005 yards for Saquon, Derrick Henry.
I don't see no Cowboy running back on there.
No, but you know what you do see on here? 4 first-round picks and 2 second-rounders. Saquon Barkley, first-rounder. Derrick Henry, second-rounder. Kyron Williams was undrafted. Or actually, he wasn't undrafted. He was a 5th-rounder, if I'm not mistaken. Bijan Robinson out of Texas, first-rounder. Jonathan Taylor, second-rounder. Josh Jacobs and Najee Harris were a first and second-rounder. 4 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders led the league in rushing.
No.
We saw for so long, for a decade, Joe, running backs don't mean anything. They're a dime a dozen.
That's what they said. That's what they told us.
And guess what happened? Defenses got better against the pass. And now you look at it and like, well, wait a minute. Now we need a running back. So did the Cowboys trot out there this past year? Rico Dowdle, who had a pretty decent season the second half of the season.
But he's a backup, though, man. Come on.
He kind of is.
Zeke.
Kind of like Tony Pollard was.
Zeke on one leg.
Dak Prescott was his best when Zeke was in his prime.
Because Zeke could block back then.
What would be better for Dak Prescott? A stud wide receiver 2 with, I don't know, a mediocre running back like Rico Dowdle?
Yeah.
Or would it be better for him to have the next coming of Saquon behind him, the next coming of Bijan, the next coming of Josh Jacobs behind him?
Yeah, they need a running back, man. That would definitely help the offense.
They say that the best offense is what? A good defense.
Yep.
What is the best friend for a passing game? A good running game.
Mm-hmm. Because they could do something simple as set a screen,
right?
And have the running back do his job.
Which comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? So Marcus Mosher of Locked On Cowboys was like, "Well, we need to build the offensive line first." No, which would you rather have? Saquon Barkley in a mediocre line, or a good line and Rico Dowdle?
No, give me a good running back, bro.
You could figure it out later on. You could do the rest through free agency. You don't have to build through the offensive line through the draft.
You know how many years that's going to take to build that line?
The Saints have done it last 5 years.
I know.
The Saints have drafted a offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds each of the last 5 years.
Yeah, I'm just saying it takes a while. You think Cowboy fans want to be waiting around for 5 years?
No, not at all.
Not at all, man.
Imagine if Kansas City had said, "You know what? We don't need this Patrick Mahomes. We need to shore up the offensive line before we get the quarterback."
You know what needs to happen? Jerry Jones needs to wake the fuck up and look and see what happened. You let this fucking Washington Commanders team leapfrog you. Look at where they're at right now. But you know what? Jerry Jones is like the Spurs. Right. We like the team we have.
So we have others coming up and saying, Tony O'Donnell saying Dak is not the same since his leg injury because he can't run out of the pocket anymore. He's trying to be safe. He's just not the same guy. What's the one before that one?
Let's see.
That one is Chris Gonzalez says, "I'm not saying the report is wrong, but the last 25 Super Bowl winners, how many running backs led the league and won the Super Bowl?" That's not the issue here, is because you need to make the playoffs first before you can make the Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley made the playoffs. Derrick Henry made the playoffs. Kyron Williams made the playoffs. Bijan Robinson was a game away from making the playoffs. Josh Jacobs made the playoffs. Najee Harris made the playoffs. You got to make the playoffs first before you can win the Super Bowl, right? In order to win the Super Bowl, you need to have a competent quarterback and a top 5 defense. That's just basically it.
Cowboys need some help, man. And
right.
They need it in a bad way. They're going to have to wind up giving away their future in order to go ahead and make something happen. And it's been, that's on Jerry Jones because Jerry wants to be involved in everything, and he's been making the wrong decisions for quite some time. 28 years, Mike. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm. CBS Sports released their own mock draft today for the NFL. They believe former UIW stud, who went to Miami, Cam Ward, is going to go number 1 overall to Tennessee. They have Abdul Carter, the edge from Penn State, going to Cleveland. They have Shadur Sanders going to the Giants. That's
pour some
Deion's son.
Pour some out for Shadur Sanders.
Man, you know what? It's New York, man. Bright lights, big city.
Yeah, but
I think he'll be all right.
Something awful, dude.
Can you imagine if Travis Hunter drops all the way to number 4 to the Patriots? Number 5, they have Mason Graham, defensive line, going to the Jaguars. McMillan. I always mispronounce this guy's name, but from Arizona, that stud receiver. They have him. He had 1,300 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. They have him going all the way up to the Raiders at number 6. Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU, going to the Jets. They have Will Johnson, cornerback of Michigan, going to Carolina. They have my Saints going after Georgia edge Michael Williams. Number 12. They have the Cowboys taking Ashton Genty. We know the team doesn't jump them to get him, right? You can see Jerry going, come here to 12. Drop to me at 12. And then a team jumped to number 11.
Yeah.
As for the Houston Texans,
I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry's so stupid that he goes ahead and gets that guy, right?
Yeah.
And then trades him away for something dumb. That wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. No, we're gonna go back in the draft and get an additional 4th rounder. Walter Nolan is who the Texans are allegedly projected to get through CBS Sports' mock draft today. Defensive lineman from Ole Miss. Now, the Houston Texans are an interesting team, man. They were decimated by injuries this year. Tank Dell got hurt. Joe Mixon was out for part of the year. It's kind of hard to say how that team was really going to be. They got hit by the injury bug pretty early. I kind of thought DeMeco Ryans lost control of the team for a little while. He regained control. CJ Stroud had a sophomore slump. But what do they need this year? I think defensive line is pretty much what they need, right? I think offensively they got the weapons. If they're healthy, plenty of weapons out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, defensive line's probably where they need to go. Or someone to hang out with Stingley.
JHNSB says, Jerry Jones better than Brian Wright.
They're the same person.
Oh, my God.
They're the same person. Now, last night, Ohio State beat Notre Dame 34-23 to win the College Football Playoff National Championship, brought to you by AT&T. It was a blowout at first. I believe it was 31-3 at one point. Notre Dame came back, brought it within a score with about 3 minutes to go in the game, 31-23. The only people who cared about the game at that point, Joe, were the bettors because the spread was 9.5.
Cover the spread.
And Ohio State got a last-minute field goal to make it 11 points for Ohio State to cover the spread. It's interesting because the final poll came out of college football, right? Where's it at? I thought I saw it. Where's it at? I saw it early today. So you had 2 teams, Ohio State, Notre Dame, right? The top 3, none of them were SEC schools. No SEC schools in the top 3.
Dude.
Found that to be interesting. Is it possible, Joe, that NIL is making it so that SEC football is not as great as what people think it is? Because the team that went the furthest in the SEC, Texas Longhorns, were the Big 12 the year before.
Yeah.
So it's not like they are SEC, regulars. They're not SEC OGs. I found that to be interesting, Joe. Maybe the SEC is just simply overrated. Maybe when we saw Tennessee go out and beat Bama and take the goalpost down Broadway Street, throw it into the Cumberland River, that maybe, just maybe, they're overrated.
Here's the final poll that you were talking about. All right. So this just was released here by Bleacher Report about an hour ago. So this is what you have as far as your number ones go.
Ohio State at 1, Notre Dame was 2 because they're the national champion and runner-up.
Yeah.
Then Oregon at 3, Texas at 4, Penn State at 5, Georgia at 6, Arizona State at 7, Boise State at 8, Tennessee at 9, Indiana at 10. So I count 2 SEC schools, 3 SEC schools. And then you have SMU, BYU, Clemson. Dude, the SEC is slightly overrated, dude.
Yeah, to round out your top 25, they had number 25, Colorado.
Okay, so you know how we talk about like Major League Baseball?
Yeah.
You see the Dodgers outspend everybody, and then you see the Yankees outspend everybody, and it's like, oh my God, lo and behold, guess who's in the World Series, right?
Yeah.
It's like that in college football now with NIL.
Yeah. Whoever's got the big bucks.
Who had the big bucks, right? So out of the top 8 schools that had NIL money for the highest NIL money, 5 made the playoffs.
Yeah.
5 made the playoffs. And Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken, was north of 20 million in NIL money this year, and they might be projected to have 30 million next year. Okay, I'm supportive of NIL because I think it was BS that these players were not getting paid for so long. But it also is ruining the sport in a way because it's created the contraction of all these leagues.
Well, the best teams are going to be the ones with the deeper pockets.
Well, true.
You know?
But then you also have the fact that like all these conferences are going away. Like the fact that Oregon and UCLA play in the Big Ten is stupid.
Those little conferences, man, it's just
the super conferences now.
They were money grabs because you have to be part of the conference to be able to play these certain teams and whatnot, right? Because it means something, right? You're in your conference, you're getting all this exposure and all that. But what it's showing you too is that these conferences, unless they're like you're part of the big conferences, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, Nobody
cares.
I'm looking at UTSA, right? UTSA moved up to the AAC. They're in a 14-team conference. They have 3 teams in that conference named the Owls. How do you have 3 teams called the Owls in one conference? The Rice Owls, Temple Owls, and Florida Atlantic Owls.
You know what'd be funny?
2 of you MFers need to change their names.
Just have an SEC or just have a conference, right? We can't have a team in that conference unless it has a bird in it somehow.
Yeah.
Falcon. Owl.
You take a different name.
The duck, Oregon duck.
The duck. I mean, I'm looking at the Big Ten, right? How many schools are in the Big Ten? Change your conference name, damn it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 18 teams
in the
Big Ten. 18. How do you actually have this be fun and have rivalries when you only have 10 games in the regular season and 3 are out of conference?
Yeah.
How do you have rivalries when you have teams like UCLA along with, dude, look at these names. When you think of UCLA and USC, I think Pac-10. When you think of Nebraska, I originally think Southwest Conference.
Yeah.
When I think Maryland, I think of ACC. This is what's making football less attractive because the normal rivalries that you have aren't there. I do like the fact that they have the playoff with 12 teams. That's a perfect number. Who do we have? We had number 7 against number 8. They never would have played each other for the national championship 2-3 years ago when the BCS was still a thing, or when they had the college football playoff committee and they were picking the top 4. Never would have happened. But you see, you cannot dispute the fact that Ohio State's the national champion. They went through a 12-team playoff and they didn't get a bye.
Damn.
Right? So, I don't know, man. College football is kind of going. It's one of my favorite things in the world. But I miss the old days, man. Maybe that's just me getting older. I miss the Southwest Conference from the 90s. It's just not as fun. Sam Swins is asking the question, so who gets the most money in NIL? The best players who are on full scholarships? So where do you say on the fact that these guys are getting free college education, Mike? They don't go to school.
They're just athletes.
They're athletes to represent the school. They're going there for a free education. They don't care about the free education. And guess what? The school doesn't care that the player doesn't care about a free education.
Some do go to classes, but it's far and few between.
Well, I'd say probably half. Well, not that they all go to classes, but how many of them actually get a degree?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like not a lot. Not a lot.
It's probably more than you think. But
what are they going to get a degree in?
Dude, I mean, a lot of them get
arts.
Humanities. I see a lot getting kinesiology degrees for like lifting weights and working out and stuff like that. Yeah. Some will go into sports management, stuff like that. Let me see here. Let me see. Texas Longhorns. I'm going to look up Texas Longhorns football graduation rate. If you can go to 2 box for me real fast.
Yeah.
According to AI Overview, it says that the University of Texas, that 68% of their student athletes, including football players, get a college degree. That's lower than the rest of the school, but hey, that's 2/3 of the school of the team. You have 90 players on that team. 60 of them are going to get a degree.
Look at that, communication degrees.
That's true.
That's true.
They like media and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is that the scholarships thing was the BS that the universities were talking about all the time. Think about Ed O'Bannon from UCLA basketball back in the day, who filed this lawsuit, which created the crumbling and allowed for NIL to happen, name, image, and likeness. Ed O'Bannon was a basketball player for UCLA back in the day when they were good, and he's playing a video game where he sees his name, he sees his height, his weight, his jersey number, and goes, "What do you mean I don't get anything out of this?" And UCLA going, "Well, you got a college degree out of it." And he's like, "Well, how much did y'all get out of this?"
Quite a bit.
The selling of the jerseys with their names, all that stuff. And for all these people to say, but they get a scholarship out of it, they're not allowed to go make money. So things have changed. Now you have Arch Manning making just as much money as Sarkisian, who's coaching the team. I mean, maybe not as much, but pretty damn close.
Yeah.
So the power dynamic has changed. And that's a good thing. But the problem is that now you have these conferences kind of realigning, and it's a haves and have-nots. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't mind it. Going for an education is not what they're there for.
I believe NCAA rules state they have to go to class.
Or class goes to them because a lot of them are taking virtual courses.
Look at that. With the NIL, how many scholarships are going to high school kids compared to JUCO transfer players?
If the player can play ball, it doesn't matter where they come from. Doesn't matter where they come from. Joe's got some love to MCS General Contracting. They power the chat
They do.
that we all enjoy here. Chris Leha and the fellas.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Hey, that diamond hard concrete really survived the snowstorm from last night. I went outside. My sidewalk looks perfectly fine. They put it together for me this past year at my house. I'm a happy client of MCS General Contracting. Give them a call. 210-774-9155. If you want an MCS General Contracting Yeti, reach out to them. 210-774-9155. Again, the more Yetis they order, the less expensive they're going to be.
Yep.
The more that you order at one time, right? I got 2 of them yesterday, Joe.
Nice.
Chris Leha came by my house, dropped off 2, bought them, and I'm going to keep one. Going to give one away to one of our listeners.
That's nice, dude.
On top of that, we actually have another giveaway that's coming in. I forgot to bring them in. I forgot what they're called. But they're those toys, those Spurs toys that have like, oh my God, this was a Victor Wembanyama one.
The bobblehead?
The bobble?
The Funko Pop.
The Funko Pop. There you go.
I think I have one here. Oh, it's up there. Yeah.
Okay, if you can bring one down real fast.
Yeah, I'll go get it.
So the Funko Pop, that's exactly what I was thinking here. We had one of our listeners anonymously donate 3 of those.
There it is, a Victor Wembanyama.
Donate 3 of those to give away, Joe.
Nice.
So anonymously given by one of our listeners for that. They dropped that off to me this past week.
Oh, and shout out to Sean because Sean gave me a P.F. Chang's
voucher. There you go. So we have lots of giveaways.
P.F. Chang's. He gave it to me for Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they do the swap that they have there with all the restaurants there. I'm still planning to karaoke this weekend, Joe. We still doing that?
Yeah, we're still doing that, dude. Hidden Tavern.
Hidden Tavern. Going to be Saturday night, 7 p.m. Karaoke gets going at 8. So we're going to celebrate 2,000 subscribers here. Chris Leha saying MCS will be posting a driveway they just completed later today on Twitter. Be on the lookout. They do an amazing job, man. They do a fantastic job.
So snowstorm, Mike, if there was ever a tall tale.
I got a dusting of snow. You can see it. I woke up and I was surprised.
Yeah, a little dusting of some sleet and some snow.
I was surprised. So did Jeremy Sohan fix his shot? Joe, the Spurs right now. The Spurs right now are in Paris taking on the Indiana Pacers the 23rd and the 25th. It is a 1 p.m. tip-off here in San Antonio on Friday, so take a half day. But the Spurs are already out there in the community doing stuff. We see the Coyote doing his thing. So if you go onto my screen here, Jeff G Spurs Zone, we have a video of the Coyote in France. Lots of cool things going on. You see Victor Wembanyama. They have the Spurs logo there with the kids over there in France. Again, Wemby from Paris. Played professional ball out there before joining the NBA. Fantastic. This is pretty cool stuff, man. I would like to say this is once in a lifetime stuff for the Spurs, but I think this is going to be an annual thing, Joe.
It'd be cool if they do go and return because it's good for international play, right?
Mm-hmm. See Julian Champagny, Trey Jones hanging out with some fans over there in Paris.
Poodles in Paris.
Poodles in Paris, man. We got some going. Some Go Spurs Go in the snow. Fantastic. There's a Spurs shop over there. Amazing. But I was looking at the Jeremy Sohan thing, right? Because Jeremy Sohan,
I think Hefe had it on his.
Yeah, I'm looking for it here. There's some video of Jeremy Sohan shooting a three, and it looks like his shot was fixed. It didn't have that hitch.
Yeah,
should we be excited about this?
I'm not too sure.
Should we be excited about Stephon Castle being part of the? Oh, here it is. Here's the shot by Sohan with blue hair. By the way, for those of you who get excited about his hair color, he's gone from green to blue. Where did the hitch go? Okay. Well, wait a minute. Hitch is still there. But it's not as bad. It's still there though.
Oh, but look at how bad Zach Collins' shot was.
The hitch is there. Just
look at Zach Collins. Look at this. Go ahead and shoot it, Zach. What the hell?
The jet lag, Joe. It's the jet lag.
That's how he shoots his threes, dude. He's ass.
And why is he wearing glasses?
He needs glasses, dude. He usually wears contacts.
Ah, man, he needs to do the Kurt Rambis and wear goggles.
He could wear the goggles. He'd probably look, a little bit more intimidating. I think that's what happens when you drink a little too much.
Our Chris Layhouse.
The vision goes.
Our Chris Layhouse saying that Collins is a 2-pack of ass.
He is, dude.
I don't know. The hitch is still there, but it's just not as pronounced.
You know what? His shot looks good right there because he doesn't have nobody in front of him defending. Put somebody in front of him, that brother's going to miss.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to, Joe? I'm looking forward to seeing this at the NBA All-Star Weekend.
Feeling confident. Castle. Oh, Castle.
He was the king in his castle that time.
Courtesy of Bally Sports.
Thunder falls sleeping. He caught that one way back.
Spurs rookie Stephon Castle going to be part of the NBA All-Star Weekend festivities, going to be part of the slam dunk competition. Typically, they have 4 players go out there, and there's usually maybe one that's kind of like an amateur that goes out there and competes. Dude, Castle's going to win that thing, dude. He's going to win that thing. But Stephon Castle has had a fantastic run the past couple of weeks or so. Currently 3rd among rookies in scoring. NBA Rookie Ladder is going to be released this week when it comes to what NBA.com believes is going to happen when it comes to Rookie of the Year voting. I think him being in the slam dunk competition is huge for him winning that award, Joe.
It's going to be able to put him out there on the map, definitely. Showcase your skill set. Show people something. Show me something. If you're going to be out there and you're going to be competing in the dunk contest, get the Spurs Coyote out there. Jump over his ass or something. Do something.
Mm-hmm.
Do something amazing, dude. Just don't go out there and do the same old tired dunks, man. I'm tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over again. Slam dunk competition is boring as F, dude.
It has been. Now, back in the day with Aaron Gordon doing his thing, that was good.
Yeah. And Levine.
And Zach LaVine going back and forth. But I'm looking right now at the NBA rookies right now because according to the NBA rookie ladder that NBA.com had last week, they believe that the player that's going to win Rookie of the Year would be Alex Sarr, who was a top pick. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, look at this comment coming in here from Sith Elias. Have Castle jump over the Fiesta Sucia.
Nice. Well, she tried to yank him from up top, from down low. But, Joe, I'm looking right now at the rookies when it comes to scoring per game. Jared McCain's not going to make it because he has injuries, right? That means that right now Stephon Castle is 2nd among NBA rookies when it comes to points per game at 11.6. Jalen Wells of Memphis averages 11.8. Alex Sarr at 11.6. Then Zachary Sarche at 10.5 and Zach Edey at 9.3. You look at it, if Castle keeps starting games he's going to win this award because he averages 14 points per game when he is in the starting lineup. Castle also averages 3.5 assists and 2.5 rebounds. I will say this about Sarr. He does get 6.5 rebounds per game, but he's also, like 7 feet tall. But Stephon Castle has a really good chance of winning Rookie of the Year. I believe being part of the slam dunk competition is going to help him when it comes to that because he'll be exposed in the dunk contest, and also he'll be exposed in the rookie competition against the sophomores because he's going to be part of that as well. He is going to be all NBA first team rookie. That we know for sure. But being Rookie of the Year, it's going to have to take eyes on him. And I have a hard time believing that NBA voters are going to vote for Jalen Wells, who was a second-round draft pick, over the person who was the number 4 overall pick, or Alex Sarr, who's the number 2 overall pick, or Reese Archie, the number 1 overall pick, or Zach Edey, the number 9 overall pick. I think that they're going to overlook Jalen Wells when it's all said and done, especially considering the fact that Stephon Castle is doing things defensively because out of all these players, he's the best defensively as well.
And look at JHNSB. Why is Mike so excited about the Rookie of the Year award? This team sucks, dude. You know it.
The Spurs are Wemby, Castle, and a bunch of dudes. Wemby, Castle, and a bunch of dudes. Don't get me wrong, I like Harrison Barnes. What do we call him? He's the
Toyota Corolla.
Toyota Corolla. I like Barnes, right? So we are Wemby, Castle, a Corolla, an aging veteran point guard, and a bunch of dudes. At least we know that Castle is something. You can watch these games, Joe, and realize that Stephon Castle is a stud player.
Yeah.
You know he's going to be really good.
And he plays better when he's in the starting lineup.
And he's also the guy that I was talking about last December.
Yeah, you were.
And especially Locked On Spurs. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, Cats 5, verified that. It was like, yeah, Jimenez was talking about Castle from the get-go. I think me and Eric Salinas, who's a big Spurs fan on Spurs Twitter, were the first two to look at Castle and go, that guy belongs on our team. Our good friend Sean Quintero, who we were during the March Madness, I kept pointing out Castle going, that's the guy I want on my team. He goes, he's coming off the bench. I'm like, that's the guy that he smells like an NBA player. He's going to be a good NBA player. And the Spurs got him at 4. I was excited. And then we see him blow up when he becomes a starter.
Yeah, another thing that I was
back-to-back games with 20 points or more.
Yeah, another thing that I did over the weekend here is I went ahead and recorded Los with Jeff on Monday. So we released that. Or it was Sunday, I believe. It was Sunday, so we released it on Monday. And what I was doing is we're talking about the Spurs and talking about the state of the Spurs, and kind of trying to figure out why are they so bad, giving our opinions of why we think the team is so bad right now. And I just broke it down for Jeff, and a lot of people are coming back now and saying I was cooking, because I was spitting truths out. And I said, what's going on with the team? It's really easy to see. They're pretty good, maybe in the first, second quarter, and then the wheels fall off. And I said, I think it was more prevalent in the Memphis game. It was when they really got exposed in that third quarter. And the reason that the Spurs are losing these games is that they don't know how to play fundamental basketball as a team. They don't know that, if I get a better shot selection, and that might translate into 2 points instead of 3, we don't necessarily need to be chunking up threes because we're not a three-point shooting team. They still haven't learned to pass the ball effectively. They haven't learned to go ahead and start moving effectively without the ball, the correct spacing, have some fluidity to the offense. You can't just be standing around. Got to come out. You got to help your players get free, set picks, set screens. Do fundamental things that any basketball team in today's NBA knows how to do. And it was prevalent in that Memphis game because the Spurs got totally out-hustled, outshot, you name it, by a second and third string players on the Memphis Grizzlies team, and they weren't doing anything sexy other than just playing basketball. They came out, they were passing the ball, they were moving well without the ball. People weren't standing around, they were getting open shots. I mean, it was just sickening to watch because the Spurs, again, they were just coming down the other end of the court, Mike, chunking up threes early in the shot clock, not setting up. Everybody was playing hero ball. And you can't have that. They played their best when they played great as a team. And I think they still need to go ahead and adjust that starting lineup So you know what? There's no shame, and I even said that there's no shame. I don't know what the stigma is to have players come off the bench. Vassell, Sohan, they play better when they come off the bench. Why? Sohan can go ahead and not get in Wemby's way. Vassell, he plays better when he gets his touches. Him and Wemby don't mix, man.
Mhm.
It's very clear that doesn't happen, dude. There's not that chemistry there. And when you had Champagny, when you had Barnes, when you had CP3 and Wemby, Castle, that was your best starting five. You were winning games.
That was beautiful, Joe. I mean, I will 100% endorse everything you just said there.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think what ends up happening, the Sohan stands are out, dude. The Matt Laramas of the world, the we're with you, Sohan.
yeah.
John Dyer, all them, coming out and saying that we really needed Sohan. Dude, Sohan was not going to overturn a 21-point loss to Miami or a 28-point loss to Memphis or a 14-point loss to Memphis or even a 16-point loss to Milwaukee. Because if you take him out, then you're taking out Castle's 20 points in 3 straight games. And Castle is a better defender than Sohan. Okay? We all need to dispel the myth, the legend that Sohan is a lockdown defender because he's not. He's a good defender. He's an above-average defender. But the idea that he's a lockdown guy was perpetuated by the fact that he had a great game against Luka Doncic a year and a half ago. He's a very good defender. He's a good defender. B+. But he ain't like a lockdown guy, Joe. I even had Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs admit to that on Locked On Spurs and also on this show.
Yeah.
The thing about it, though, is I think the Spurs, having lost 6 of 7 games, what they got exposed by is the fact that they're an average team. Let's look at the games that they won, Joe, in recent weeks. Utah, New Orleans, Portland. Atlanta's a decent team. Portland, Brooklyn, Clippers. There were a couple of good wins in the last 5 weeks. Beat OKC, beat Denver once on the road. Beat the Lakers. But the Lakers were still in that whole dynamic with the fire going on over there, Pacific Palisades and all those areas over there. But look who they lost to, Joe. They lost to Memphis twice. Is there any shame in losing to Memphis, who's the 3rd best team in the West?
No.
Nope. They lost to a pretty decent Miami team.
Got decimated by the Heat.
They lost to Giannis. They lost to Denver.
Wemby got embarrassed by Giannis, dude.
They lost to Denver.
The Bulls.
The one game that they should have won, Chicago, because they're up by 19 in that game.
Yeah. When you let the Bulls outscore you in that fourth quarter, 32-15, you got a problem, dude.
What we're showing here, Joe, is that we're good enough to beat the bad teams, but we're bad enough to not win against the good teams.
Yeah, and you think they're going to be good enough to beat this Pacers team in France?
Well, I think what's going to go on with the Pacers 24-19, so they're a good team. You've got the fans there for Wemby, man. We know Wemby is going to play each game like it's Game 7 of the NBA
If
Finals.
he balls out in France, why the fuck aren't you doing that every night here?
No, it's different, dude.
No,
it's
bro,
different.
it ain't different.
Joe, it's different.
No.
Teams get up for rivals. You see this when the Cowboys were 1-15. Who was the one team they beat? The Redskins.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was their number one rival at that time back in late 80s, right? That was the number one team that they had that was a rival, right? You always get up for your rival. You can't get up every single game as though it's Game 7 every single night. You just can't.
Yeah, but you know what? If Wemby balls out in these 2 games against the Pacers and he has like 42 points and 15 rebounds and almost a triple-double, and he's out there in front of his countrymen and he's balling out, why the fuck aren't you doing that every night down here?
Because you can't.
No, dude. I think it's time for Spurs fans to hold Wemby's feet to the goddamn fire. He don't get a pass. He don't get a pass. You're the superstar. Play like it. Don't come out with wimpy gunners no more, dude. Come on.
You can't maintain. You can't go high throttle at all times.
Do something, dude.
You can't
do something.
And I'm looking at Chris Paul's stats right now. Remember, everyone was all about Chris Paul the other day.
Yeah.
Against the Bulls, 18 points, 9 assists. I said that was the best game he had played as a Spur. Bucks had 18 and 7. Here's what Chris Paul has done the last 4 games: 10 points, 9 assists against the Heat, 6 points, 6 assists against the Grizzlies, 8 points, 5 assists against the Grizzlies, 13 points, 10 assists against the Lakers. Chris Paul is on the last legs of his life, NBA life. We need to trade this dude in the next few weeks. And hope to get a late round, first round draft pick from somebody. From some team, Joe, that needs some point guard help going into the playoffs. If Chris Paul's on this team in 3 weeks, I'm going to be pissed.
Come on. You said you were punting. The team is better with Chris Paul.
No, they're not.
Oh, Mike.
Okay, Chris Paul is a great mentor on the court.
You're flip-flopping.
No,
you said that he was good, and now you're saying
no.
he's not.
Joe, Stephon Castle is going to benefit from having Chris Paul in his corner for the rest of his career. He's had the ability to start alongside Chris Paul more than 20 times, right? But what I'm saying is that Chris Paul is also on a expiring deal. It's not like the Spurs are going to sign Chris Paul again during the offseason. Why would they? Why would the Spurs go into next year, Wemby's third season in the NBA?
Sign a 41-year-old point guard.
Yeah, for Wemby's third season in the NBA. What I'm saying is get something for him.
You know what? At that point, Chris Paul would be that old-ass fucking Band-Aid that's been in the box for 10 years. It ain't got nothing to stick on.
And for everyone saying that I'm flip-flopping, Joe, what I've been saying for the last few weeks about Chris Paul? Chris Paul's like me when it comes to drinking. How many times have I used that analogy? When I go to Vegas for 4 or 5 days, I get drunk the first night, I'm sober the next night, drunk the next night, sober the next, and then drunk the next. Why? Because I can't do it 2 days in a row. I cannot physically get drunk 2 days in a row. It's just not in me anymore. I can't party like an all-star. Chris Paul.
You can't party like an all-star, but you can party like a porn star, right?
Well, ask Chica. So here's the thing, Joe. Here's the thing, Joe. If you ask me, like, can he summon up a great game? Can he point God for a game? Of course he can. He did that against the Bulls. He had 18 points and 9 assists. He did that against the Nuggets one of those games earlier in the season. He can do it. But at the end of the day, Joe, he's a 40-year-old point guard. He will be 40 later on the season. At the end of the day, that's what he is. My whole thing is we're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, we might make the play-in.
No,
we're not going to make the playoffs.
This team ain't making the play-in.
Okay.
Stop it.
So then why not try to dangle him out there and get something for him?
Chris Paul is the ball tire. You have 3 new tires, and he's the ball tire just making the car go.
Do you know who Chris Paul needs to go to? He needs to go to the Lakers.
Oh, Mike. Why?
Because a playoff run. He ain't going to get no run out there. A playoff run. You got to do him that solid. What does he not have in his NBA career?
They're going to have the oldest lineup in the NBA with LeBron, Chris Paul out there.
Well, they did that with Shaq and Kobe when they trotted out there old-ass Gary Payton. But what does he not have on his resume, Joe?
He never won a chip.
Never won a chip, right? So we're looking at the standings right now, and the Spurs look around at the NBA and go, who's going to make the playoffs?
Not the Spurs.
Do you think that maybe as a backup point guard for Cleveland, or maybe a backup point guard for the Knicks, the Bucks, he's at a $9 million price point, $10 million price point. These teams can't absorb it in the West. Send him back to OKC. Send him to Houston. Get a pick in return. Why not? Swiss coming out and saying, Mike comparing himself to Chris Paul is just sickening. I'm not comparing myself to Chris Paul. I'm comparing the fact that I know that I'm old, and because of that, I can't do certain things that I couldn't do when I was young. The same thing goes with Chris Paul. Do you think Chris Paul can play at an all-star level, Joe? Every game?
Oh.
No, not at 39.
Let me ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
How old is Trey Jones?
Trey Jones is like 25.
Okay. Chris Paul's like 39, going to be 40 already, right?
Right. Trey Jones is 25.
Who's a better point guard?
Chris Paul is still. That's sad. That is sad. Trey Jones isn't even the best point guard in his family because Tyus is better.
His brother. Trade for his brother.
Because Tyus can hit a 3. Joe, what I found interesting about Tankathon today, NBA Tankathon, did you know that so many picks have been traded that out of the 30 first-round draft picks this upcoming season, this upcoming draft, 15 of them don't belong to the original team? Isn't that stupid? I mean, not only does San Antonio have its own, but we also have Atlanta's, and currently the Spurs everything was to hold the form. Spurs would pick number 10, and we'll pick number 17, that Atlanta pick. Remember, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick and a good draft. Oh, yeah. It's now projected to be 17.
No, Spurs fans wanted Atlanta to suck. They want all these teams to suck so the picks can convey.
Guess who has Philadelphia's pick currently projected to be number 8? Oklahoma City. Who has Phoenix's pick currently projected to be 11? Houston. Who has Minnesota's pick projected to be 13? Utah. Look at this. Sacramento has Atlanta. Atlanta has Sacramento's pick. San Antonio has Atlanta's pick. OKC has Miami's pick. OKC also has the Clippers pick. Look at OKC this year. OKC is projected to pick at number 8, 15, 22, and 29 possibly. 15 of the 30 picks have changed hands already.
Yeah.
Now, the Spurs right now have a top 10 protected pick from the Chicago Bulls. So keep in mind, we're losing the Charlotte pick because that Charlotte pick, Charlotte has the 5th worst record in the NBA right now. It's top 14 protected. We ain't getting it. It's going to become a second rounder next year. 2 second rounders. That Chicago pick is top 10 protected. Right now, Chicago has the 9th worst record in the league. So the Spurs would need to fall below Chicago, who's a game and a half worse than the Spurs right now. And the Spurs would need to have a team 11 through 14 jump over both of us.
The Spurs should just, at this point, there's nothing to play for.
Right.
When you're already at the All-Star break, right? When you get to the All-Star break, let's see how well they look. You know,
right.
If they still look bad, they're in the midst of an 8-10 game losing streak. Pull the plug, man.
The Chicago pick is top 8 protected next year and top 8 protected the following year. Guess what it becomes if it doesn't convey in 2027?
What?
Second rounders.
No, God.
Leha saying Mike wants to trade for more picks. I didn't say I want to trade for more picks. What I'm trying to say is don't get something out of Chris Paul. That's all I'm saying. Get something. I'm not saying that I'm excited about getting picks, but get something. The Spurs got something for Thad Young, for crying out loud. The Spurs got something for DeJounte. The Spurs got something for Derek White. They got something for DeMar DeRozan. Get something, because Chris Paul running out his contract in April and us getting nothing in return does us no good.
You know what gets you nothing in return? Hanging on to all these picks, just like Leha says. Fuck them picks. They mean nothing, and they don't mean nothing.
No, I agree, but you
don't mean shit.
But do you know what means less than that? Getting nothing for an expiring deal.
And you know what means less than that? Picking and then letting these picks not convey. You know, they don't work out. You let them go for nothing. What happened with Primo? What happened with Walker?
I get
I'm
that.
like, it's
I get that, but
you
need to have some sort of asset.
Yeah, even Lucas Samanic, all these picks that they had, how many of these guys are still left?
Right.
You know?
Right. But you need to have an asset. The Spurs have tradable assets right now. Here are the expiring deals that we have right now on the roster right now. 3 of them. We have Chris Paul, who makes $10.4 million. We have Trey Jones, who makes $9 million. And we have Mamu, who makes $2 million. Those are 3 expiring deals.
Yeah, you know what
Flip
their names,
them.
You know what their names are going to be.
Gone.
Gone, dude.
Right. So if we know they're going to be gone, Joe, why would we not want to get a draft pick out of these?
You got to ask Brian Wright. You got to ask your boy out there.
That's all I'm saying. The fact of the matter is the Spurs right now have 12 players on the roster for next season already. Vassell, Keldon, Barnes, Collins, Wemby, Castle, Sohan, Branham, Champagny, Blake Wesley, Bassey, City Sissoko, all under contract already for next season.
And JHNSB is right here. Spurs won't make any trades. You know why? Because they like the team they have.
No. The Spurs will make trades.
They ain't going to do nothing
this
season.
The Spurs are not going to make trades to improve the team. The Spurs will make trades to pick up draft picks. They will do that.
What are they going to do with these picks?
Dude, we've seen it all. We've seen it already. Thad Young, DeRozan,
No, what's his name? That one guy that they had last year that's now playing overseas that could shoot the three. They let him go.
Oh, Bertans?
No.
Well, we even got some in for Ben. We even got some in for Bertans. Brian Wright does do trades like this. I will say this though, Brian Wright's not doing his job if we get nothing for Trey Jones. He's not doing his job if we get nothing for Chris Paul. And JHNSB saying more second rounders. It's still better than nothing. It's still a roll of the dice when it's all said and done. I hate second rounders too, Joe. I hate second rounders, man. But the fact of the matter is that I'd rather have a second rounder than nothing. Second rounder, hope and pray that this dude that comes out of like whatever third world country materializes into something. I'd rather have that than nothing at all.
Look at Antonio Ornelas. Trust the process, Joe. Spurs play chess, not checkers.
Spurs haven't played chess since 2014.
Dude, that cliche is out the door, man. This Spurs team ain't done shit over the last couple of years, but sucks. Something awful. And Spurs fans, what do they tell them every year? To go ahead and sugarcoat it. It's like putting candy on top of dog shit. You know what we're going to do? We're going to give you a city edition jersey. We're going to give you a city edition court. And they can't even do that right. I'm like, come on.
Trade deadline is Thursday, February 6th. So we're about 2 weeks and 2 days away from the NBA trade deadline. Let's give some love to Locked On Spurs and Jeff Garcia from Ken's 5.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That's right, Kens5.com. If you want to follow Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Lots of reports coming out from Paris as the Spurs battle the Pacers there for back-to-back games. I believe it's on Friday and on Sunday. Early tip-off, 1 p.m. on Friday. And I think it's like 11 a.m. on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be all about that. Actually, I said it's the 23rd and the 25th, right? So that's Thursday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Thursday and Saturday the game. So need to find a place to go watch the game on Thursday at 1 o'clock, Joe. I don't know. Make our way to a bar.
I'm going to be off on Friday. We'll see what we're going to do. You know what? I think we're going to wind up taking, well, we might not take the day off. Depends on how I'm feeling, you know, and what I have planned that day. We might take the day off on Friday. We might not. But if I'm off on Friday, why not go somewhere, do some day? You ready? You do ready
some
for
day
some
drinking.
day drinking?
Some day drinking. I don't do day drinking a lot, but wouldn't be against it.
You know what? I went over to this one place over the weekend. Remember, I wasn't telling you guys, man, but I wanted to check out Smashed, right?
Yeah.
Over on Grayson. I went over there on the weekend with one of my boys, hung out for a bit. It was cold, but we still went out there. It's a nice area, nice venue. And then right down that whole little strip right there, they have these nice bars. They had the Modernist next door, Speakeasy. Got a good old fashioned there. Hung out there for a little bit, talked to some people. Then I went across the street. Then we went to another bar that they had there. It's just a bar, dude. And that's the one thing I like. I like the old traditional bars.
Okay.
Just pull up to the bar, watch the game there, watching the Commanders beat on the Lions. I was watching there. We're having bar talk with the other fellas there at the bar, having good conversation with the bartender. Had a great selection, dude, of liquor, dude. And the good thing was, it's just a no-frills bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great selection of liquor. Bartenders knew how to make
And where's
drinks.
this at again?
Off of Grayson, right across from Smash, dude. Like right across the street from Smashed.
When you find a good bar, it's sacred.
It's a good bar.
It's sacred. Like I don't go to bars as often anymore.
Yeah.
Chica and I, when we first got together, we started dating in July, right? We just got drinking a lot. Like we would hit up casinos.
Yeah.
We were pounding back drinks, and now we're like homebodies on the weekends. We go to restaurants and stuff like that. But as far as hanging out and getting a good drink on, I'm looking forward to this Saturday over at the Hidden Tavern.
Yeah.
On West Avenue. We're going to have a celebration for our 2,000th YouTube subscriber. We're now at 2,200, Joe.
We are, dude. We're at 2,227 subscribers strong.
And by the way, for those of you who are listening right now, hit the like button. do us a favor real fast and hit that like button.
Yeah, hit the like button. Helps the show grow. Helps us in get in front of more eyes.
Midtown Texas saying he used to love Highlanders, man. That was a good bar back in the day.
I remember that. That was a no frills bar, man. They just had beer and some like wine coolers there for the ladies. Like
was Highlanders the one on Fredericksburg?
Yeah, off of Fredericksburg.
Yeah,
you know
by Ken Spy, right?
You know which one was a nasty bar where they just served nothing but beer.
What's that?
It used to be further down Fredericksburg.
Oh, Bombay?
No. Bun Ratties.
I don't think I've been to that one.
Man, they had that lady there, the bartender. I don't know how old she was, but she had that smoky voice.
Yeah.
You pull up to the bar. What do you want, honey? You know, Bun Ratties. It was a nasty bar. And one of my boys used to like to go there. And he'd be like, hey, man, let's go bar hopping. I'm like, all right, where are we going? Fredericksburg. All right, where are we going to start off? No, don't do it. Don't say it. Bun Ratties. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Dude, you know, some of these bars that are like I like going to Roxy's right by Ingram Park Mall.
Oh yeah, dude. It's reminiscent of Chelsea's
Street Pub back in the day,
man.
So Roxy's, you know, it's kind of like a, you know, it's an interesting place, dude. Remember that time, Joe? I think I mentioned the story before where I went to a Missions game back when I was on San Antonio Sports Star, and someone recognized me and said hi and invited me to a bar, and I followed them to a bar on West Avenue, but going towards like Edison High School.
Yeah.
And they were like, dude, it's kind of a sketchy bar. And I'm like, dude, I went to Holmes, man. I went to Holmes. Might be an indoor dog, but I went to Holmes. Dude, had a blast over there, man. Some of these bars, these cantinas, these sports bars on the south side, west side, that's where I like to be, man. It's fun times. Dude, no one's gonna give you any hassle if you're there to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know,
look at what they did to
Bob from La Bamba's not gonna show up.
Look what they did to our staple here on the Puro Exit 7 area. Barton's Boozery, man. You had to pour some out. If you knew, you knew.
Oh, really?
It was a staple here in the community. Bar that everybody went to for years, right?
Yeah.
They finally shut it down. They bulldozed it. And on its ruins, they built a freaking car wash.
Joe, I watched some movies this weekend. So the Chica has one of those things you put on your TV. What are they called?
Fire stick.
Yeah, we watched some movies. We pirated.
What kind
stuff.
of movies? Some pirated.
We pirated some stuff. We saw Gladiator 2.
God.
I had not seen Gladiator 2.
Were you not entertained?
I was not entertained.
Too much talking.
I fell asleep the first time I watched it. Now, mind you, it was late. I watched it again the next day. I was excited to watch it all year long.
It was like Beetlejuice. It sucks.
Okay, first of all, Beetlejuice.
You watched it twice.
Francesca and I went the first time. Hated it.
You say, what happened?
We were like, you know what? Maybe we weren't in the mood. We went back a second time. It sucked the second time. We're like, no, the movie just sucks.
God.
Gladiator 2 did not suck. It just wasn't good. And I'm looking over at Chica, and I'm trying to explain to her what's going on because she never saw Gladiator 1, even though that was her homework assignment. She didn't watch it. She did enjoy Whiplash, though.
Really?
Have you seen Whiplash?
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, it's on Netflix, Joe. I want you to watch it at some point this week.
Okay.
It's J.K. Simmons, Miles Teller. J.K. Simmons won an Oscar in that movie for Best Supporting Actor. It's basically about a band director who is very cruel to his students. And Miles Teller plays the drummer. By the way, he actually did play the drums in the movie. Miles Teller is someone who is taking the abuse.
Oh.
I saw on TikTok a TikTok saying Whiplash if it was a black cast. It was the funniest thing ever. It showed the instructor yelling 3 times and the student getting up and just walking out the door. Whereas in this movie, you know, it becomes a constant thing. And Chica's looking at me going, dude, Hispanics would not take this, man. Would not take this abuse. We'd get up and beat the crap out of that guy. But it was a good movie, man. Mario Cavazos saying Whiplash is good. Fantastic.
Don't punish her. It says,
did you punish her for not? Well, it's corporal punishment, dude.
Oh, God. It's a musical, Joe. Heads up.
It's a musical. Jazz music. Good movie.
Mike said pirating was ghetto, though.
It is ghetto. That's why I don't do it, but Chica does.
Oh God, dude. Look at this. Matt Gomez, 7 a.m. shots with night nurses. Yeah, baby.
Dude, Little Woodrow's used to do that back in the day.
No.
There's actually an Irish bar in the medical center out by Wurzbach, going to like Gardendale, kind of like where Walk-In is at, right behind it. If you know where Taqueria Data Point was, and kind of like in that area.
Yeah.
They were open at like 6, 7 in the morning for the night crew from the University Hospital to go over there.
Yeah, they used to have one that's in the corner now. Yeah, on Fredericksburg. It used to be Mencias. Remember where Mencias is that? Right in the corner. Now it's Slackers. It used to be something else. The Leaky Barrel.
It used to be Anthro back in the day.
Yeah, but it used to be the Leaky Barrel, and then that got shut down, and now they turned it into Slackers. It's right next to the Dragon's Lair.
Yeah. Joe, we got through a lot of show today, man.
Yeah.
We got through a lot. You know, a lot of topics going on. We're talking about the Dallas. We haven't really talked so much about the Cowboys when it comes to the head coaching aspect of it all. Schottenheimer, now the odds-on favorite to be the head coach, who was the offensive coordinator this past year. Joe, Jerry Jones is, I think at this point, he's so narcissistic that he doesn't believe that Cowboy fans are going to jump off, man.
No.
But I think they are.
They're tired of the losing. It's been 28 plus years of losing. Teams getting worse. They don't have a head coach. They don't have the pieces. This team's going to suck something awful for another couple of years before it gets even better. They're going to have to go and sink to the very bottom of the barrel, man, before Jerry Jones does anything. Jerry Jones looks like he's near death already. I think the boys probably got maybe a year left in him, a year and a half. And then he's donezo, man.
He's donezo. He's donezo with this world.
The Reaper's going to be a calling, Jerry. He's already knocking on the door.
RJ Ochoa has been, blogging the boys. Big time Cowboy fan, but as he likes to say, he's never experienced a Cowboys Super Bowl victory. Posted this the other day. The last NFC Championship game appearance for all the teams in the NFC. Every single team in the NFC has made the NFC Championship game since 2010. Even the Bears. Even the Seahawks, even the Saints, even the Bucks. Every team in the NFC has made the NFC Championship game since 2010.
You know who hasn't?
The Cowboys, and they haven't done it since 1995.
Been a long time.
Let me ask you this, Joe. You're a Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Do you think that argument that Cowboy fans make about, well, how many chips does your team have? How hollow is that?
That's dumb. This team hasn't done nothing in the last
30 years.
28, 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
come on. 30 years.
It's been a while, dude.
Like, if you have to be 40 years old to remember a championship, okay, I was thinking about it this way. I was doing the math the other day. Let's say that you were watching the Cowboys Super Bowl in Vegas, or you were in at a bar here.
Yeah.
Right? You're at Roxy's or whatever, right? Let's say you were 21 years old. You were 21 years old back in 1996, which means you were born in 75, 74. You have to be 51 years old to be old enough to remember a Cowboys game and be legal enough to be at a bar.
Yeah. My son's 28 years old, right, Mike? His whole life, he's never known that the Cowboys have ever won anything other than that they just suck. You know what my kids say about the Cowboys, Dad? They tell me, Dad, why are you watching the game? They suck. They're like, as long as we've been alive, we have never seen the Cowboys win. My kids say that. They say, why do you keep watching them? Why do you keep watching them, Dad? And I'm just like, I'm a glutton for punishment. But you got to call it at some point in time. I'm tired of the losing, Mike.
Well, I mean, look at San Francisco, right? San Francisco has gone a year longer than the Cowboys of winning a Super Bowl, but they've been back to the Super Bowl a couple of times since then, right? The Eagles make their way to the NFC Championship game. Even Buffalo, who lost 4 in a row back in the 80s and early 90s, they have hope that they're going to make it to the top. I'm looking at the Cowboys right now, Joe, and I cannot see a path for them to do anything. Like,
they can't do anything. They have no money, dude.
They have no leadership.
No money, no leadership.
No culture.
Yep, exactly. You know what?
Crazy.
They have Sith Elias is over here in the chat, and he was saying that R.C. Buford has said that Coach Pop is expected to return to coaching the team soon. He's been improving weekly since his stroke, and they don't know when he'll be back, but at some point he will be rejoining the team this season. But my argument is, why, dude? Like, I know he deserves his roses. Give him his roses, but send him off respectfully, man.
Right. So Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 is tweeting that as of 4 minutes ago, saying seems Popovich is expected to return to coaching the Spurs. I do want to see Popovich come back and basically not go out the way that he went out.
Yeah, give him his roses. Send him off.
Give him his roses. Finish the season. That is fine. But if we see a 78-year-old Popovich, a 77-year-old Greg Popovich out there tomorrow, next year with Wemby,
man,
then at that point, the Spurs aren't serious about winning. There's not.
I think it's going to be all for fanfare too, because as soon as he comes back, it's probably going to be during a home game, here at the Frost Center, because of course they want to sell as many tickets as possible. Fans are going to be in attendance, and oh my God, Pop, thank you for coming back. Thank you for everything you've done. Oh my God, Pop is back. And the fucking Spurs get blown out by 30 goddamn points.
Yeah, Popovich turns 76 next week.
Christ, bro.
Popovich turns 76 next week. We want a 77-year-old head coach? Seriously? We want a 77-year-old head coach next year.
What if this team is worse with him at the helm?
They probably will be. He's not who he was, man. Do you know what? Watching Pop coach is like watching Chris Paul play basketball.
What'd you say? It's like watching paint dry.
It's like what the old saying. It's like watching old people bone.
Oh, bro. Hey, man, but let him come back. Give him his roses. Send him off respectfully. Let him ride out, dude. That's it.
Yeah, it reminds me of those players who get hurt. They come back, get one at bat, finish the season. Fine. Finish the season. But then right off into the sunset.
Yeah.
To quote Cypress Hill, we ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like that. We ain't going out. Don't go out like that. Don't go out. Don't be out because of a stroke and never come back.
Yeah.
Come back, coach the team the last 25, 30 games, right off into the sunset, get your flowers, and get your pension check and move on.
You know what I imagine is going to happen? Coach Pop finishes the season out. Then sometime in the offseason, we're going to be doing this show. And they're going to say, Coach Pop just announced his retirement. Mike, breaking news. Coach Pop just announced his retirement. Good.
We'll be back tomorrow, everybody. Everyone stay warm. This should all thaw out. The snow's probably gone by now.
Yeah, it's melted.
You know what I feel like having, Joe? Even though I'm on a diet right now, I feel like having Burger Boy.
Oh, Mike.
I feel like having Burger Boy. It's just like
the working man.
Something tells me is the single or the double?
That's a double, I think, with the cheese on it. The working man.
I think I'm just the single.
Working man's good, dude.
Don't tell Chica though.
Oh, she's gonna probably already see it, dude.
Let's see it when I take off my shirt.
Jesus, bro.
Or maybe I'll just leave it on.
With the socks, the shirt and the socks, you can leave them on. Cochino.
Chica, I'm on my way. Everyone have a fantastic day, dude. We'll be back tomorrow.
All right, see you,
Peace.
Boys.